Hey everyone, it's Ben. Hope everyone's doing well and having a nice weekend. This video is, of course, what I promised, the last of the San Francisco Noir film series that I've been doing this week. So this will be the sixth film that I'm talking about, a film that was shot in San Francisco and has a noir horror kind of feel or vibe to it. And what would a noir week be without giving some praise to the master of suspense himself, Alfred Hitchcock. So the last film I will be doing is the classic Vertigo. Psycho is and will always be my favorite Hitchcock film, but Vertigo is a film that must be appreciated and was one that took me a while to really come to appreciate it. And that was the case for most people when the film was actually released in the 50s. So stay tuned for the review on Vertigo, and I appreciate everybody watching these and supporting these, and thanks again. So Vertigo. Vertigo was released in 1958. It was directed by Alfred Hitchcock, Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Stars Jimmy Stewart as John Scotty Ferguson, Kim Novak as Madeleine Elster, and she also plays Judy Barton. It also features Barbara Bell Geeds as Midge Wood. Stewart plays a detective who is suffering from acrophobia, which is this vertigo that he sees whenever he's in like a high place, and this is caused by an incident that happens as the picture begins, where he's chasing a criminal with the police, and he falls off of a rooftop and is hanging there, and a policeman goes to help him that was chasing the criminal as well, and he falls to his death. And when Stewart looks down, or Stewart's character looks down, he sees this vertigo, which is the way that it's like a shutter effect that Hitchcock used. So when you look down, it sort of is like this vertigo image looking down to the ground, and he suffers from this. He's hired, Scotty's hired by an old friend, Gavin Elster, who's played by Tom Helmworth, to investigate his wife. And throughout the course, because he feels like his wife is, there's some strange things that she's doing in her private time. So when Scotty goes to investigate her, and through the course of keeping his eye on her and tabs on her, he becomes obsessed with her. So that's pretty much the overall premise of the film without giving too much away. Now, Vertigo was shot over the course of 16 days in and around San Francisco. Some of the famous locations that were used were the Golden Gate Bridge, Coit Tower, the Hotel Vertigo, which was formerly the York. There's also 1000 Mason Street, which was used for the exterior of Madeleine's apartment, which this is right across from the famous Fairmont Hotel. Hitchcock is famously known for loving San Francisco, feeling it was like a little Paris is what he called it. I think he was very disappointed when this film originally came out because it was poorly received by critics. And both were critical of Jimmy Stewart in the film, because Jimmy Stewart was 50 years old when he did this film, and Hitchcock and most of the critics felt that the failure was due to Jimmy Stewart's age, because he was 50 and Kim Novak was 24, and there's supposed to be an attraction between the two, and Hitchcock felt that Jimmy Stewart couldn't attract the audiences like he used to, and that was due to his age. Now, Vertigo was a film that I discovered late in life. I was in film school. The first time I saw it, I was in history of film class, and it was one that we were watching was Vertigo. And I also had a women in film class where we talked about the movie, because the movie was heavily criticized, particularly going into the latter half of the 20th century, just because it was how Hitchcock objectified women, using them as objects, that Scotty is so obsessed with Madeleine in this. It's almost like he needs to own her. That was kind of, the objectification that a lot of women had a problem with this film. I understand where they're coming from, and believe me, I'm a guy, so I have no idea what it's like to have been a woman growing up, and the time that this film came out, or how the impact would have had on future generations as well. But I still think that you can't say enough good things about Vertigo, because it is a classic. It's sad that it took so long for it to become a classic, but like most films that I've talked about this week, a lot of them were not popular when they first came out, and this is no exception. Vertigo was not a masterpiece in many critics' eyes when it was released, nor in movie-going audiences. It wasn't until later that people realized what a true work of art that Hitchcock had created here. There's some tremendous visuals in this film. The opening credits sequence is just amazing, as well as some of the scenes in the city when Scotty is tailing Madeline, or when he rescues her from jumping into San Francisco Bay. Just what Hitchcock does with lighting and the way that he lights Madeline when she walks into a room. A lot is said without a lot of characters in terms of dialogue. There's a lot of stuff that's just implied that you get just from the characters' expressions and things like that. And I think Jimmy Stewart's amazing in this film. I loved him in the other two Hitchcock films I've seen him in, which was The Man Who Knew Too Much, as well as my other favorite, Rear Window. But he's amazing as Scotty, and what a, for the time period that this film came out in, you didn't see a lot of films like this. Films were very, by the numbers, but there was always a few that sort of snuck in that pushed the envelope a little bit. And what a move for a big star of his kind. He was a huge star, and for him to take this kind of role is pretty ballsy. And Kim Novak is amazing in the dual roles of Madeline and Judy. She does a great job of playing both women very differently. Bernard Herrmann's score is just amazing. I love this film very much, and doing a noir week of San Francisco films, you have to talk about Vertigo. And for those of you who have not seen Vertigo, I really recommend people going out and seeing this, picking it up. It's definitely worth a view, and it's one that I took a couple of viewings for me to really enjoy, just because it was so different. It is a very different subject matter, and it wasn't normal to see a leading man like Jimmy Stewart playing a character as vulnerable as Scotty is. So that was different for me to see, just because the other characters I had seen him in, with maybe the exception of It's a Wonderful Life, he hadn't really played a character like this. So, not enough good things to say about Vertigo, and I invite people to let me know what their favorite Hitchcock film is. Mine will always be Psycho, but I think Vertigo's in my top 5, after Rear Window and The Birds, and The Man Who Knew Too Much. So please share, and again, thanks everybody for taking the time to watch my San Francisco Noir week. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a nice rest of their weekend, enjoys the Super Bowl, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot again, everybody. Appreciate it.